Yippee-ki-yay indeed. Welcome to the NLFA championship game here on our last edition of Monday Night Mayhem. Welcome in. We have the Lumberjacks and the Bombers squaring off for the championship, the title, for all the marbles here tonight. I'm coming to you in a half hour at 9 o'clock for the broadcast crew. But in the meantime,
sit on the bed.
We got you. We got the pregame here ready to get you started. So first of all, we have two explosive offensive teams here from this season. We should expect something exciting here. But Kelsey, let's kick it to you first. What are you? First of all, welcome in, Kelsey. Here. What are you expecting to see out of this game tonight?
Man, this would be a fun game. This would be two high-flying offenses just having an absolute blast in the championship game. A culmination of a long season, right? It's been a long, hot season in northern Louisiana, and these guys have been just going back and forth, and these Lumberjacks are on fire right now, and it's hard to think that they might not be able to just come in and just keep rolling. I mean, the way they've been doing it, but the Bombers, they've been dominating since day one, so this is going to be a fun game. Offensively, defensively is going to be where the key is, obviously. Who can get the first stop or the most stops is going to be the team I think is going to pull this one out, but it's going to be a fun one to watch no matter what.
Yeah, for sure. And you hit it. The Lumberjacks have been rolling for most of the season at this point. They are definitely the hottest team on a streak right now. And meanwhile, they're going up against the Bombers, who we haven't seen in a few weeks. And that could play a role here. So, Ryan, do you feel like that we could see that have an effect in this game, or the whole hot and cold team facing off against each other here?
Oh, absolutely. This is definitely going to come down to how the Bombers can set the tone early. It's been a minute since they've played, so it could be that it could be the ring rust. It could be, oh my goodness, there goes my camera. It could be ring rust. It could be field rust. That they might take a couple series to get it together, but I'm curious to see if they'll take it to the Lumberjacks right out of the gate, and they're trying to avenge that loss, that 22-2 loss from about a month and a half ago. So I'm pretty sure that it's in the back of their minds coming into this championship game.
Oh, for sure. Revenge is always on the table. It's a dish best served cold. And we're going to bring in Andy here as well. We're going to get Andy Mike's back on here. Oh, Andy, how are you doing this evening joining us here for another great edition of Monday Night Mayhem? How are you this evening?
Well, I'm here. I'm alive. I can't say I'm thriving, but we are here. No, I'm good. I'm excited to see this championship game. I think, the main thing that we should be looking for in this game, hopefully, is to see, A, who's going to have the offensive firepower. B, is the defense going to be able to keep up with lateral movement and downfield shots that these teams will take? And I don't know about you guys, but I'm just excited to see this championship, to see this league come to fruition this season, and, just watch these guys play and watch some people hit each other and have fun doing it.
And now, Andy, you've been one that on these broadcasts, you've been nailing all the kind of the X's and O's of what's going on in the field a lot of the time. What was the main thing that you noticed the Lumberjacks change to really get them on this winning streak as the season progressed? Did they start doing anything in your eyes better than they started off the season with?
I think the main thing is, honestly, like I said, the defense. And, what I noticed the last time I had the privilege to call one of their games was that was the really catalyst for them to, on all phases of the game and both sides of the football, really start clicking. And I think it starts with turnovers and it starts with playing mistake free. The main thing for me is, obviously they're coming in, excuse me, to this game against the Bombers. We all know the Bombers offense, right? We had them early in the season as number one offense in the league. Their quarterbacks, I'll call him Mighty Mouse back there. He can run around. He can throw the ball deep. He makes plays, right? And they leave openings for him to run. Now, so the key is going to be pass rush for the Lumberjacks. Are they going to be able to keep him in the pocket? Whoever's on the ticker, you can how it works for you, Mr. Cooper. Don't be jealous of the sponsorship. Thank you, Proud 90 Golf. But anyway, what I was saying is, we're going to be looking at, are they going to be able to contain, the quarterback for the Bombers and not let those running lanes up? And then when he does get out of the pocket, because we will see that, are they going to be able to stay with their receivers, make plays, possibly get a turnover, as we saw last time we had the privilege to watch this team play. When they created turnovers, gave their offense a short field, they scored a lot of points.
Yeah, it's pretty basic key to the game that usually the team who wins the turnover battle has the best chance of winning the game. That's something the Lumberjacks have definitely been able to do. So I definitely agree Bombers being able to match that would be key for sure. I know for me, something that I noticed that the Bombers started doing after the first couple of weeks was they switched up their their backfield formation to more of a two-back set, flanking Banks back there. And I think that got them a little extra protection when it came to dealing with those kind of botched snaps that we see the Lumberjacks have happening to them a lot. Instead of him getting hit immediately at those, it gave him some time to run around and make something happen. Kelsey, did you notice that when it came to the protection, did you think their offensive line got better as the season went on, or do you think it was more so that they just switched up the scheme of what they had going in the backfield?
They got smarter with the scheme, right? It wasn't like like we talked about some of the teams we've seen in this league, the Rattlers. I'm gonna pick on them right now. You set up a 3-man line against a 5-man front. Now the Lumberjacks got smart and they set up a 3-man line with 2 backs in the backfield, and they would actually be blocking backs in passing situations. Now when they would run off tackle, things like that, they would actually pull in that extra man on the line, get an offset line, have a little bit extra strength to get that ball around the corner. But you do see a difference in scheme when it came to their blocking, and for sure. And it is what turned around the season really for the Lumberjacks. I mean, you look at their first couple games, they were just letting whatever happened happen. It was just, you know what, you're gonna get to the quarterback. Hopefully he gets the ball off in time. And then they're like, what if we protect him for a good half a beat and see what happens? And well, we see what happened now.
Yeah, it just gave him enough space to get outside to make some magic happen. That's what Banks has become known for this season. And speaking of Banks, Ryan, I want to go to you on this one because we have a unique showdown tonight, not only between the two most explosive offensive teams, but their quarterbacks are also two of the main players up for MVP of the league this year. So do you think – I mean, obviously the easy answer here would be that, whoever has the best game tonight is probably going to get your MVP. But so who do you see kind of coming out of this with as the big man on top? Because like we said, we haven't seen Esther in a while. We've seen a lot of Banks, but you think Esther still has that firepower to maybe get a little upset here on Banks, in my eyes.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. I mean, I've seen a lot of Lumberjacks this year. I know what Banks can do. I haven't had a chance to see Esther yet. I'm curious to see what he can do. But yeah, for my money, it's Banks. Banks is the MVP of the league, and if he has a big game today, it's going to be. I think he might solidify himself as the league's MVP.
I would definitely agree with that. I think that's a very fair point to say. And we got some fun stuff going on the ticker. So stay tuned. There's going to be some fun jokes passing on the ticker all night during the broadcast, halftime, all parts.
Just jealous of my beautiful bald head.
The key to the ticker, though, is going to be, will he actually make fun of himself?
Well, that's why during the broadcast, one of us takes control of the ticker and we make sure we get our punches in. That's the key.
I was hoping we wouldn't give that away, but yes.
The man in the truck takes care of it, Andrew.
Exactly.
The man in the truck. Yeah, he's somewhere in another state. That's why we blame the sometimes spotty internet service. But anyways, let's bring back the fourth wall here. This bottom line is we got ourselves a championship game tonight, and both of these teams have had their own paths, like we said, to get here. Bombers came out by far the best looking team to start the season, and it's slowly shifted to the Lumberjacks taking over. And we saw them have some stylistic change. We saw them really take control of their identities in the season here. And I think a big play here is going to be the defense. We see a lot of these guys play two-way defense. Banks is a linebacker as well. And do you see there being an issue now that we're kind of into the spring and close summer here? Do you see exhaustion being an issue tonight with these guys playing both ways on offense and defense? I know we've seen it in some other games where the second half rolls around. Sometimes if you're down in the game mentally, it's hard to get back up once you're physically exhausted too. Andy, what do you think? Do we see some exhaustion take place tonight for these teams? Do you think they're just going to be riding that championship high?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime you get into a playoff tournament, no matter how many games you play, it's a 6-game season, you're going to see some exhaustion, especially if you're a two-way player. I know me personally, like when I played, And I would even run like scout team in practice and do like 2 ways, that kind of stuff. Tired. So I think the key here is going to be, if, like you mentioned, Banks, he plays linebacker, is that team going to get off the field in 3 plays? Are they going to force 3 and outs? When they're on offense, is he going to be running for his life? Again, exerting more energy, or is he going to be able to sit back in the pocket? It's really going to depend on those 2 factors, if you ask me, how the offensive line blocks for both quarterbacks. And then are the defenses going to create stops and turnovers that lead to short drives for these offenses? So basically, I think what I'm looking at, and you guys can, chime in on this and correct me if I'm wrong, is are we going to see either a defensive battle or a shootout? I don't think it's going to be a middle ground. It's going to be pretty black and white, if you ask me.
I do want to pick a point at what you said. I don't think his offense is going to be a problem for him at all. And I just say that because when you talk about the times to have fun and the least exhausting moments are those moments where you're dominating another team or you're a most dominant player offensively. And it's obvious that he is a more dominant offensive player than defensive player. So when he's on offense, he's like, oh, I get to, have fun, do my thing. It's not going to be a worry for him offensively. It's really can he stop the Bombers defensively? That's what I worry about. Is it, to your point, Andy, is like if he's on the field for a long time defensively, that is going to wear him out, and then you might see a little bit of exhaustion on offense. But for the most part, I feel like most great players when they're on their side of the ball, they're not feeling any sort of exhaustion.
Yeah, and I think you're right on that, Kelsey, too. And I know, on the opposite side of the football for the Bombers, when Esther's at quarterback, and I think, Andrew, you actually called one of the games with me earlier this season where we saw him running around a lot. And he was, both running because of pressure and then running because of opportunity when it, was created with the offensive line. So, I don't know. Like I said, I think it's going to be one of 2 ways, not really a middle ground on this one. What I do think we're going to see, though, is I think we're going to see which team has improved the most over the last couple of weeks. Obviously, we know the Lumberjacks come in on a 4-game winning streak. The Bombers come in on a 2-game winning streak. So both teams playing good football. The top 2 defenses in the league, top 2 offenses in the league. So, you could have scripted this, I guess, from the beginning of the season. But, anything can change on any given day.
And to Andy's point about exhaustion, I'm curious to see with the lines being the way they are. As a big boy myself, I've played both positions, offensive, defensive line. I want to see how in this kind of heat and this kind of weather, how both lines are going to play, especially when it gets down to the nitty gritty in the last 10 minutes, the last 5 minutes, the last 2 minutes of the game, how it's going to pan out for both offensive lines. Could it be, can they last both halves? Can he, or 4 quarters? Can they, is it going to be a mental aptitude of physical exhaustion that costs one of those teams the game? It's going to come down to the lines. It's going to come down to how both teams manage the weather, get some fluids in you before the game, and during the game. I think that's going to come down to which line is going to be more dominant, especially in the latter stages of the game.
And oftentimes in championship games, it's just simply who wants it more. It is going to come down to just who wants to show up and leave it all on the field to end the season. I'm not even going to read that bottom one right now because I'm in the middle of talking. But anyways, what I thought was something interesting we saw in the Lumberjacks playoff game last week against the Roughnecks was the Roughnecks actually did have some success attacking that defense, and they did it by passing the ball. And it's something that we haven't seen a ton of happen with success in the league this year so far. So if the Bombers can find a way to get some balls downfield and take off the top of this defense, they might be able to find some success in attacking this Lumberjack defense and keeping them honest, because something the Lumberjacks are good on defense is just being aggressive. They're jumping routes. They're attacking where they need to attack. So taking that top off might be something the Bombers can try to look to do. And I guess the question is, and I'll open this up to all you guys, do you think Esther is the type of quarterback who can pull it off? Does he have the arm to push it downfield?
I do. I'll take this one first. I do, but I think, again, it depends on why he's moving. If he's moving with somebody chasing him, we've seen him kind of be both sides. We've seen him make plays, and okay, I'm going to get real nerdy in football here for a second. If they have the right play called, okay, if they have a receiver coming digging across the middle, following his bootleg or following his motion, so it's going to come down to the skill players on the outside. Are they going to follow their quarterback and try to help him out and try to get open? I believe in the last game, that I was on, I think it was the Lumberjacks, we saw a lot of bootlegs rolling left and then a like tight end or a streaker running a corner route. Okay. So if we see some of that, I think it'll work well. If we see, kind of that the skill position play where it's just like running a route and then kind of backyard football-y where it's just like, I'm open. I don't know, because Esther is vertically challenged. Let's just say that. But as far as arm strength, and what I like about him is his field awareness. He does have field awareness, so if he does see somebody coming into a position where they're open, he will throw the ball. Same thing with Banks. Both of them, I think, are well equipped to do that. It's just going to depend on the purpose of them moving and how their skill position players are reacting to that.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point, actually. If he moves with purpose, if that's the point of the play, is for him to roll out left and they have the blocking set up for that, and he doesn't have to basically go Johnny Manziel in the backfield. Anybody remembers Johnny Manziel highlights? He would spin around 3 times just to throw a ball 4 yards. Well, that's the same thing. Like when Esther has to make plays with his feet and it's unscripted, he can do it, but it's only when he scrambles to the left and he has to have that receiver, like Andy said, coming in motion with him. I don't know if he can throw it deep off the top. Here's the thing I've noticed. When it's over 20 yards, he is very wild. And it might come down to the fact he is a little bit shorter than the rest of the team, and so he has that overstriding issue that a lot of quarterbacks end up with. Makes you throw a little high, a little wide every time. And when you look at that, that's a worry, because you're exactly right, Andrew. When you were talking about the lead up, the Lumberjacks love to jump underneath routes, and if Esther has any sort of misplaced ball that is underneath, that is going to go pick six the other way real fast. And I mean, you'll be lucky if it only stops with 1 pick six at that point in time, because Esther, unfortunately, does not have the memory of a goldfish we've seen so far this season. He can tend to let it build up on him and react to certain things.
Well, I believe there was a game that we saw him get pulled in a game too, I believe, if I remember correctly. I can't remember exactly which game that was. But I guarantee you that won't be on the highlight reel that we're going to show here next. We got highlights from both teams that we're going to quickly play for you guys here. Then we're going to talk about quickly what we saw, give you our predictions. Then we're going to turn it over to the broadcast crew to bring you this game. So stand by and check out some highlights here.
Huge playoff game between the Lumberjacks and Roughnecks for the right to face the Bombers in the NLFA Championship. Let's start here early in the first quarter. Little misdirection. Derek Banks takes it up the sideline looking like the MVP candidate, getting the Lumberjacks up early 6-0. That was after a couple of fumble attempts by the Roughnecks, taking advantage. Then the subsequent extra point, doing it himself all day. They're up 8-0. The Roughnecks, however, came to play today. Weston Bigby, a huge man-type run, would not be taken down, would not be denied that touchdown. Great job there, great run. Put the Roughnecks in position 8-6. Then we see Ortiz doing it himself. He wanted to take a page out of Banks' books. Hey, I got to get in there. Let's tie this thing up. It's 8-8. Then this happened. Noah Stanley on the run. He's gone. Touchdown. Great throw by Ortiz. Great play. The Roughnecks making it rough for the Lumberjacks, putting it right back to them 14-8. The subsequent extra point, however, is no good, which would prove to be costly as Derek Banks finds a slanting Marvin Carter over the middle, giving you a reason to want to go to the gym with a strong catch, tying this ball game, getting the Lumberjacks an extra point away from the championship game. Then Dante Casey high steps himself and the Lumberjacks to the title game. Final score 16-14 Lumberjacks. And that sets up our championship. The Bombers facing the Lumberjacks next week for the NLFA title.
And we start there how the Lumberjacks got here. Unfortunately, we don't have any highlights from last week of the Bombers because their game was forfeited by the Rattlers, paving their way to slide right into this championship game to face off with the Lumberjacks. So before we close out here, I do want to go around the horn here and just get everyone's prediction of what you think is going to happen, who's going to win, and how do you think it's going to go? So let's start with Ryan, and we'll just work our way around.
I think it's going to be. I think it might be a tighter game than what people expect, but I think the Lumberjacks will pull away at the end. I got the Lumberjacks winning 23-14.
Fantastic, Andy. What are you seeing here as well?
So I'm going to also say it's going to be close, but I'm going to say it's going to be a little bit more scoring. I'm going to say we're going to see 28-26 Lumberjacks, and it's going to come down to those 2-point conversions. And I think we're going to see a really good football game played on both sides. But Banks and Esther take over and show why they're the two running candidates for the MVP of the league.
Okay. Wow, I guess I'll be the different. I'll be the naysayer, I guess. I'm going to go highly offensively for one side. I think this is the game that the Lumberjacks stumble up, and this is going to be a Bombers show. I'm going to go 28-8, and it's going to be a Bombers win.
All right, dare to be different. I like that. I am, because I've watched most of the Lumberjacks. I do like what I've seen out of them. I am going to go Lumberjacks. I do agree that it's going to be a bit closer, though. I'm seeing something more in the 28-24 range, Lumberjacks over Bombers here. Like I said, I think the Roughnecks showed us a bit last week of how you can beat this Lumberjack team. But there you have it. We got 3v1 here as far as who we got for the winner of this championship game. We'll see who comes out on top. But real fast, we're going to cut to a commercial break, and then we're going to jump into the broadcast crew to bring you this championship game here on Monday Night Mayhem for the NLFA. We'll see you guys at halftime, and thanks for hanging with us.
What's up, everybody? Welcome. The arguable best running back in this draft is Kenneth Walker out of Michigan State. I love this guy. And all the college football, 89 broken tackles on the season.
This is what Bill Belichick does. He is the smartest guy in the mentality. He says, I don't need to go to these big guys. I can go draft Bailey Zappi.
I watched them play the Irish, obviously, in the 2020 where they won it surprisingly, and then they got their teeth kicked in pretty hard, which normally happens when they play a championship game with names on the back of their jerseys.
I'm ready.
Hello, welcome in to Monday Night Mayhem.
All righty, I think Vince is on a bit of a delay, so while we wait for Vince to come back and join us in real time, let's get things started off with me and DJ. Vince, are you back with us?
I think I am. How you doing?
You are. All right, so he's right back in time. Well, let's get things started. We got a big championship game here tonight, and all we're super excited. Sorry to steal the lead in, Vince. Take it away, Johnny.
Man, I had it all planned out, and then everything's going haywire. Welcome in. Monday Night Mayhem NLFA Championship. Thank you to the guys back in New York taking care of us. They're getting us all set up on the pregame as well. And we're excited to bring you the matchup number 3 between these two teams. And one of them has to come out on top, joined by Jason Cooper and DJ Stewart. I'm Vince Stover. Welcome into the broadcast. Guys, we heard the gentleman talking here beforehand. And now we've got to get to the real nuts and bolts of it all right here. Let's start with you, DJ. You heard the guys talking. What do you want to see out of the Lumberjacks here today in this championship game?
I want to see them build off of what we saw last week. They got a chance to play a playoff game, so they got to feel that atmosphere. And we saw they were a little rusty in some spots, we could say as well too. They weren't quite high flying. It came down to a 2-point conversion to beat a team to win that game. So I want to see if they can build off of that, and maybe they got the kinks knocked out, so see if they can come out of the gates firing, because a lot of these playoff games, you can kind of set the tone early in the first quarter, so I want to see if they're able to set that tone early and maybe catch the Bombers not quite taking off yet as well, too. Maybe they backfire a little bit early on because they're a little bit rusty, so I'm curious to see what the Lumberjacks, if they're able to build off of last week.
Jason, on the other side, it's the Bombers. They have been off now a couple of weeks. But they have one of the most exciting players in the league, and AJ Esther as well. What are your thoughts on the Bombers coming into championship week?
Yeah, it's that proverbial question. Are you off the week, get the rest, ready to rumble, or do you need that momentum to get to the next ball game? We are certainly about to find out. It's all about preparation, timing, that type of thing. So as long as Coach Spoon got the message into the Bombers, like, hey, I know we're off, but we still got to practice how we play. Everyone show up. Everyone, we got to put in like it's game time. We'll see if that happened. We know AJ Esser can make plays. However, the last time these two met, the Lumberjacks shut him down to a big score of 0. So we shall see if they have a game plan for that, or will it be the same thing again? We're about to find out.
Yeah, and you mentioned it there. I want to talk about the defenses a little bit because we talk about AJ Escher, we talk about Derek Banks Jr. The reality is that not only these the two leading scoring teams in the league, it's also the two leading defenses in the team. DJ, we're going to go to you first about the Bombers defense. Is there anybody on the Bombers defense that stands out to you, or someone that you're keeping your eye on in this game?
You must be reading my mind, because that's exactly where I was going to go with this one. No matter what you said to me, I knew exactly where I was going. So this teases up perfectly. So one thing we've done with all these games, I like to look at guys that have attributes: height, size, speed, something that stands out as well too that you can't really scheme up. And for the Bombers, they got a defensive back who honestly looks like he could play linebacker, looks like he could play offensive line. He could play just about a little bit of anything as well too. And that is Philip Sanders, standing at 6'2", 220 pounds as a defensive back. The reason I want to highlight him is, good luck throwing over the top of him, because we know in these leagues the quarterbacks don't always get a lot of time. So if you're under pressure, he's got a long wingspan, that's a lot of real estate to have to throw around. And we know how much that Derek Banks likes to run the ball too. That is someone who can match him for his size in the back end of the defense. So if Derek Banks does break past that first level of big guys, you have somebody who can match him and not let him run through them, as we've seen Derek Banks do plenty of times this season. Usually if you can get him to the second level, he's leaving, he's running through people. Sanders is a guy who can kind of match him up size-wise and actually bring him down and mitigate some of those extra yards after contact. And then, I'm going to go right over to the Lumberjacks as well too, because I want to get both sides with some attributes. I like to point out the guys that stand out a lot. So we talked about Esther, a little bit of a shorter guy, standing about 5'6", 155. Well, there's going to be a big man by the name of James Robinson, a defensive lineman for the Lumberjacks, standing at 6'3", 320 pounds. So literally lapping him in weight plus a little bit extra, and standing almost a foot taller, coming right into his face. We talked about AJ Esther. We talked about in the pregame. They want to get him kind of outside of the pocket on purpose, let him make those plays. But in the pocket, if you have someone that big that is literally twice your size and almost a foot taller than you, I don't care if you're a Hall of Famer, I don't care if you're a Pee Wee captain, I don't care if you're the intramural MVP. It is tough when someone twice your size is barely down on you to throw an absolute dart. So I'm curious to see how those two players impact the game for these MVP caliber quarterbacks.
Jason, let's go to you defensively as well. Any guys that stand out other than the ones that DJ mentioned?
Just go quick to the Lumberjacks. I know we're up against it. Were you talking about the outside attack, of the Bombers, so to speak? So Dimitri Casey, linebacker, like to see him, see what he can do following AJ, making sure he doesn't get upfield. They're going to go lateral. Keep him lateral. Don't let him go upfield. So I'm interested to see if he can get the speed to follow AJ tonight and shut that Bombers offense down.
All right. Very good. Well, I think it's time for game time, gentlemen. Finally made it to championship week in the NLFA on Belly Up TV. We're going to give you the quick intro, and we'll be back for the coin toss of the NLFA championship.
Well, I guess we went right to the coin toss. And Vince, I forgot to mention, I heard that you did the national anthem for this game. Is that accurate?
Oh, say. Yeah, that was it. That was me. They didn't invite me back. They've already told me next year I'm not invited back. So,
yeah, well,
All right, so here we go. We got this is the matchup we've been waiting for, right? This is the one that we wanted at the end of the day. Last week we weren't sure who would come out, Roughnecks, Lumberjacks, but when you get two exciting guys like Derek Banks Jr. and AJ Esther on the field and get to see them playing, it's going to be a great time. The two deepest teams in the league as well, and so it comes together really the perfect situation when you're talking about for the league. You're clearly your two best teams, and so even with injuries and different things that have happened throughout the season, it still comes down to this. the two best teams on the field. And I'll tell you, there's a couple of guys I didn't mention them in there as we were talking, but a couple of guys that I want to mention as well on the Bombers. A guy like Brian Williams, he plays on the outside cornerback. Taj Horton plays some linebacker as well. So those are two guys I like defensively for the Bombers. And then for the Lumberjacks, they'll be on defense to start the game. Byron Turner, number 31, the guy to keep your eye on as well. And you'll see Derek Banks around there sometimes on defense also. So here we go. We are playing 9-man tackle football is the NFL and NLFA rules. So you'll see how it's all set up if you're joining us for the first time. And by the way, thank you for joining us here on Belly Up TV, our live sports edition. We've got other leagues coming up. We'll talk about that more as the game progresses.
And you brought it up, Banks MVP candidate for a reason, Vince, playing well on both sides of the football. So yeah, good point out to start this matchup up.
Yeah, the end of the season awards will be announced later, and definitely we're going to see a lot of guys on the field today that are up for a number of different awards here as well. And like we usually do, the referees like to make sure they're seen on camera before we start the game here. But the whistle is blown, and here we go. We've got A.J. Esther in the backfield. He's got Trey Richardson on one side, Roderick Long on the other. The snap and the handoff coming around the right side. It's Richardson immediately off to a good start and a good run. Trey Richardson has been a key factor for this offense for the Bombers so far this season.
Absolutely as well, too. And you can see right there, the Bombers immediately double teaming on the edge and getting some space as well. We've kind of noticed in this league, getting the edge could sometimes be easier said than done as well, too. And they did a great job sealing the edge and giving Richardson some space to wiggle.
So we're coming down to second down and short for A.J. Esther. Just taking a look around, you'll see the Nellums on each side there as wide receivers dropping back for the first throw of the game. He throws to the right side. First down, good play there right off the bat. That is Ted Nellums. Excuse me, it's not Ted Nellums. It's Demarion Smith there with the catch, lined up as the tight end on that play.
Good play all the way around. Good rollout, good throw, good catch, and great tackle there. So just a great play all the way around on both sides. But again, we'll see. First down 10 for the Bombers, setting the tone early on this first drive.
Bombers have a lot of weapons on this offense, and they can go a number of different directions. And, again, they trust not just Esther's legs, but his arm as well. First down for the Bombers in shotgun. Snap is low. Running now straight up the middle is Esther. He makes enough out of that play. Looked rough, DJ. We saw a lot of bad snaps last week, and here we go. First drive, we're already seeing one now.
You know, we might have to do ourselves a golf league because that was a pretty solid putt right back there as well, too. We've seen a lot of these last few games. The center's got to work on popping that ball up just a little bit more. But you see why they've been so effective offensively. Even when all things could have been a disaster, you turn it into a 5-yard gains and get a second down and manageable.
Yeah, and both of these quarterbacks can turn mistakes into progress very quickly. A.J. Esther, again, proving why he's one of the better in the league. Dominic Pugh now in the backfield. You can always recognize him by that long, flowing locks. Esther now back for the snap, takes it. He's going to give it to Pugh around the right side, looking for space. Not a whole lot there. A good job by the defense collapsing. And Jason, that Lumberjacks defense has been important all season, and they're getting to the ball on the outside right now.
Yeah, we talked about that lateral speed. I mean, look at where they're attacking right now. Again, going to the outside. Lumberjacks are doing a decent job. They had the first run, and then they had the pass, but they're doing a good job right now controlling them laterally. We'll see if it continues.
I love watching this Lumberjacks defense so far this year. They have been one of the faster defenses to get side to side and make stops. They also got that size up the middle too. Esther again in his familiar shotgun. This time he's going to pull Trey Richardson right behind him. He's got a running back to his right as well. Snap, and they're looking for Richardson. No, he's going to keep it roll around to the left, throwing to the left. Caught. Evading tacklers, dragging tacklers, and eventually Roderick Long gets brought down, but a great play there by the Bombers getting that next first down.
I don't know if Long has a nickname, but I think I'm going to call him Tree Trunks because you saw him put those legs to work and carry the defense on his back. What could have been a gain of maybe half a yard, he turned into a 7-yard gain as well too by keeping those legs churning. That was an incredible second effort to get first down.
Hey, great throw by AJ, by the way, too, on throwing, running to his left. I know that's not his normal size, so great throw.
You're right. Great job there. Roderick Long, important in week 1, and then he kind of had used other people. Here comes Pugh now. No, it's dropped, fumble, and it's recovered by the Lumberjacks. Let's see if we can take another look at what happened here. Looked like an exchange issue between Esther.
You can't have that miscommunication. You can't have that miscommunication in the backfield leading to a fumble like that as well, too. It's the simplest thing in football is the simple quarterback running back exchange next to the center quarterback exchange. And huge play for the Lumberjacks now getting the ball back on offense after the Bombers looked like they were going to bomb away down the field.
Yeah, crazy turn of events there as the Bombers looked like they were controlling everything on that drive. And then, we saw it with the snaps. We talked about it last week, and now we're seeing it even with that exchange between the quarterback and running back. And Dominic Pugh has been a dominant running threat throughout this season, and a huge turnover for the Lumberjacks. And now we get to see Derek Banks Jr. for the first time today on offense. He'll go with the spread out receivers, one running back in the backfield with him. Now they're going to bring someone else in to join them, one on each side. Lots of motion for the Lumberjacks, lots of activity. They try to go up the middle. Jason, what'd you see going on there?
Well, I think someone should have zigged where they should have zagged. In that particular situation, just too many people going to in motion. I think, listen, they kind of tricked themselves. We saw this play last week where they did the motion and then ran up the sideline. I think it was Banks who took that to the house. So, again, kind of confused themselves there on that one.
Definitely a lot of activity, a lot of traffic. You kind of want to get away from the traffic. They brought everybody in. Telly Ford joining in the backfield, listed as a backup quarterback as well. He's got some speed on him. A high snap. Banks catches it, though, gets it out to the left side. A good job by Banks getting out to Marvin Carter, I believe it was, and him or Devontae West out there on the left side. And we saw it last week with that, too, getting that out to the outside quick to give some space to run.
I gotta say that I think they can hear us now because we talked about all these low snaps, and next thing you know, we got one almost going over the head of the quarterback as well too. So we know we're getting somewhere as well too. We just got to find that sweet zone. But I think that's gonna be a lot of success for the Lumberjacks is those quick passes, especially if the Bombers are gonna run with a 4 defensive linemen looking against their 3 offensive linemen. You're gonna have numbers on the edge. You just got to get to the edge and be able to get some space to work.
In the backfield now is Chris Williams. He came on late in the season and was incredibly effective. Devontae West will be on the right side of Banks. After the timeout now, official making sure he's getting seen again. He's going to take his time.
Sure does like to pause the game, Vince. That's for sure.
Championship game. You got to get all the airtime you can right now. It's the last game of the year. Can't hold anything back.
Last game. You're right. You're right. Everybody waiting. Here we go. We're going to get to play some football now. Jamada Armstrong is the center. He'll be snapping to Derek Banks. Banks gets the ball. It's the handoff to Williams. Up the right side. Moving forward, getting some yards. And now the Lumberjacks trying to make something happen after this turnover.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you got to take advantage of the situation. Got a big turnover. Now let's see what the Lumberjacks can do with it. Really a good way to answer after stopping the Bombers, making the big crucial mistakes. Let's see if they can continue this drive. Big third down here, though.
Huge third down early in this game for the Lumberjacks. Derek Banks with one man beside him is Devontae West looking to throw the ball down the field. He's got 2 guys streaming down the left side. Huge catch.
Absolutely beautiful job reeling that one in as well. So you can see it kind of faded outside his outside shoulder. And to the point where you even had 2 guys wide open right there, but incredible job tracking that ball and catching it for a huge play and setting up the Lumberjacks in scoring position as well.
Yeah, huge play, DJ. We saw a catch like that last week with Ortiz. I mean, listen, that's the hardest catch to make when it gets behind your head like that, trying to find it. You're just putting your hands out there hoping for a prayer, and he got those feet in bounds. That was a magnificent catch.
Jeffrey Flournoy with the catch. Had a huge play last week. Now you're going to see the running game again try to take over straight up the middle. Flag comes down at the end of the play, behind the play. Looks like a illegal block there. Another going to say hands to the face on the defense, face mask. So just like that, the Lumberjacks get the help as well from the defense. So we talked about mistake-free football in past games as well. You're in the championship game, and it really comes down to the person who makes the least mistakes, right?
Absolutely.
Indeed,
right now,
a fumble, a penalty. We're starting to add up on the Bomber side, that's for sure.
All right, the Lumberjacks now, they can smell the end zone. Here they sit. 2 guys in the backfield, Dante Casey on one side, Chris Williams on the other side. The referee is saying, hey, you guys got to get out of the way. Chain guy, we don't need to chain guys. They're trying to get some camera time too. Here we go. Casey on the left, Williams on the right. Banks takes the snap, hands it to Casey. Casey gets strung out to the right side. Nowhere to go. The defense all over it there for the Bombers.
Well, we're back to the low snaps, almost like it was a croquet putt on that one as well, too. But that was a great job actually corralling the snap and at least making sure it wasn't a turnover. But not a whole lot of room to work with, and you see a loss of about 5 yards.
Yep, speaking of croquet, we do have a big event coming up on Belly Up, so you want to be checking that out.
Croquet is one of those things I never realized people watched on television, but now I'm an avid tuner-inner of that. Dante Casey to the right. Banks takes a snap. Man in motion. Around to the right side, making things happen. It's Flournoy again. Another great play by Flournoy. Had the big catch earlier to get him down here. Now a good run to get him back pretty much to where they were after the last Bombers penalty.
That was a really heads-up thing that he did there as well, too, is he put his foot in the ground and went north and south instead of carrying it around wide and trying to get really, really wide to the edges. He just turned it straight upfield and turned that into a nice 8-yard gain. Great point, DJ. A lot of the guys today have been doing that. He put his head down. Now the team's in position to make a score.
Banks takes the snap. He's going to take this one himself over the right side. He's got a touchdown. Lumberjacks.
MVP candidate doing it again.
We talked about sticking your foot in the ground and going north and south. Well, Derek Banks did just that on this play as well, too. You see him barrel his way forward, dipping the shoulder, and everybody – I'm not saying they would have stopped anyway, but there were some business decisions made in there not to step in the way between him and the end zone.
Smart business decision, I would say as well, DJ.
You can't have business decisions in a championship game. This is for all of it. Flag is down. Flag is down. And it looks like maybe it just got dropped. 6-0. The score still says. Now the extra point. Looking here, this is Casey going up the right side, and the official says no good on the conversion. So the Bombers hold them at least on the conversion. It's a 6-0 game now, and the Lumberjacks, after getting the turnover earlier, are able to convert into 6 points. And when you get turnovers, that's exactly what you have to do, right, Jason?
That's exactly right, Vince. Take advantage of the opportunities when they present themselves to you. I mean, again, you talked about the heat. That's got to be disheartening for the Bombers. Their first drive, you have a fumble. Now you have the Lumberjacks take it right down on you. Going to have some hands on the hips. I can see already in the huddle. So going to have to start bringing this attitude around already. You're only down 6 points. So let's see if they can do something here.
You got Ted and Tedris Nellums. Tedris on the left, Ted on the right of your screen. Here comes Esther with the handoff straight up the middle there again. And that has been their strength this year, is running the football. Even though Esther can throw and they've got some talented receivers, that run game, Trey Richardson being the lead runner for this team, has been effective, and they'll get a few yards here.
And the Lumberjacks can see that too. As you saw, even on that play, the safety starts creeping a little bit closer and closer into the box as well too. By the time the running back gets the ball, the safety's practically a defensive end at that point as well too. So maybe they try and set up a play action bomb here if that safety continues to creep down.
Yeah, and the Lumberjacks put their speed, Justin LeBlanc, out there to cover Ted Nellums, who has had some big plays here for the Bombers so far this season. Marvin Carter on the other side covering Tedris Nellums. Here comes another run play to Trey Richardson. He breaks this one to the right side, makes him move on the sideline before finally getting hit and brought down by Marvin Carter. But what a play there by Trey Richardson to get that first down.
Yeah, you mentioned that running game in Trey Richardson earlier. Again, big, thunderous guy coming down. DJ talked about earlier, business decisions right there, though, were made to put a lick on him. Big hit by the Lumberjacks, way to step up, make him pay for that first down he's got.
We went from
Yeah,
business decisions. That was a street decision. They were not letting him get any farther. That they flipped the narrative on that one.
That's what I'm talking about, DJ. No business decisions in championship football. Esther with the play action, rolling left, throwing. No, he's going to come back to his right. Now we're back to his left. He's doing his best Michael Vick impersonation, throwing it up. Intercepted by the Lumberjacks and brought down. What a play, as just kind of staying in spot. That's Justin LeBlanc with the interception. And you can see, if we have the replay, I think we do, you can see A.J. Esther trying to make things happen. But ultimately, when he's making that throw, doesn't have enough arm strength in there to get it past the defenders.
An incredible job avoiding pretty much the entire front line of the Lumberjacks to get that throw off. But as you mentioned, just after a while, his receiver is a little bit too far out of range as well, too. Now the Lumberjacks controlling this first quarter early on as well.
I was going to mention earlier, too, and since it played out there, not seeing a lot of AJ on his feet today. He really should have made a decision, tuck it down, take some yards upfield. DJ mentioned earlier, go north and south, stop going lateral. That's how you win football games.
Last turnover, Lumberjacks turn it into 6 points. They'll try it again. Here comes the handoff to the right side. The play is blown dead, flagged down, and it looks like the Lumberjacks' false start will move back 5 yards. We've seen this consistently this season. A big positive play, and immediately maybe hurrying up, trying to get things moving, trying to take advantage of that momentum, actually sends them backwards 5 yards here. And so the Lumberjacks now 1st and 15 instead of 1st and 10.
Yeah, not where you want to start shooting yourself in the foot. You have the advantage. You got a chance now to go up 2 scores and really put the Bombers on their heels, so to speak, to start this ball game.
All right, 1st and 10. You can already see the Louisiana Heat playing a little bit of a factor. Derek Banks again, two running backs beside him, takes the snap. Throwing quickly over to the left. He has a man for a big gain here and a 1st down, I believe. Throwing it out there to the left side quickly. And he hits Marvin Carter, who had a big hit just a minute ago on defense. Now he's getting a big catch, DJ, showing that he can play both sides of the ball.
Absolutely. And not only a big catch, taking a pretty big shot there as well, too. His Banks rifled that one in there, made him leave his feet a little bit. But fantastic job looking that one in and getting back all the yards plus some as well, too. And the Lumberjacks passing game's looking pretty good early in this game as well, too. I know last week they were a little stagnant, but Banks is feeling himself today. He's really cashing in.
Yeah, and they're doing those quick hitters as well. That one was one of the faster forward passes we've seen so far this year. And now Banks back again, handing this one off, holding on to it, getting brought down in the backfield by 2 defenders. And the Bombers say, if you're going to keep it, you're going to pay.
Yeah, well, DJ just mentioned it. The passing game's starting to get off a little bit. Bombers need to start putting some pressure on Banks. So there we go.
End of the first quarter, 6-0 Lumberjacks. We'll be right back with more championship football on Belly Up TV.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan McCarthy, and I'm the host of No Credentials Required. Now, I know there are a lot of podcasts out there that make you want to do this. Or this. And sometimes this. Well, this show shouldn't make you want to do any of those things. But No Credentials Required offers the best quality sports talk, interviews, fascinating sports takes, and even the occasional live stream. We offer it all. So tune in every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on Belly Up TV. Or catch episodes of the podcast wherever you podcast. No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports.
Ryan doing his things on No Credentials. Great show. Make sure you check out all the great shows on Belly Up. Ryan also does little arena stuff too as well.
He does lacrosse. He does arena. He does it all for sure. Here we go. Back to football. Banks back to pass, throwing to the right side this time and scampering down the right side before finally getting pushed out of bounds. Number 27 I had it, and now I don't.
Either way, that's a quarterback's favorite play in the playbook. Catch, snap, flick in the flat, gain about 8 yards as well, too, and get easy yards like that as well. And the way that the Bombers are lining up on defense, they're going to have that all day if they continue to have this very packed box.
Yeah, we just talked about right before the half them needing to put pressure on Banks. Well, DJ, they countered the pressure right there, as you mentioned, with the little flip out.
Tyrez Moore with the catch. And a great job there making the most happen with it. He's in the backfield with Chris Williams. Derek Banks now takes the snap. He's going to run immediately to the left, trying to get somewhere, and there's nowhere for him to go. The big defensive play there. The Bombers step up with a huge stop right there and doing what they need to do.
Yeah, that's a big momentum swing right there for sure. And look at this, Vince. We got a penalty on unsportsmanlike conduct on the Bombers. I'm sorry, but I don't know what happened there, but I do not like this call at all. These are men on the field. These aren't children. If it's something about, cursing or something that's said, a lot of emotion going on. It's a championship game. I hope the refs stop making themselves part of this football game.
They're definitely blowing up the momentum that the Bombers just had right there as well, too. They finally were starting to get a stop, and next thing you know, the Lumberjacks are chopping away and going right back into scoring position as well, too. So that's a crucial mistake for that one as well, too. And I agree with Jason on that one. You want as few penalties as possible in this game as well, too. But that could prove to be a costly one as well, too. As you finally get a little momentum, and now you're back in your own territory.
Yeah, backed way up. Esther, though, is going to give this one off immediately to Roderick Long, who gets swallowed up in the backfield by Dimitri Casey, a guy, Jason, you talked about pregame.
I did, and look, we got another flag, though, Vince. Yeah, Dimitri, again, following on that outside, that lateral speed, able to make the play, and we got a hold on the Bombers, looks like.
Unbelievable. They're going to decline the hold. And they got to be careful here. They need to make sure that they don't shoot themselves in the foot anymore. Timeouts being called here, making sure they can kind of get things under control, I think. But, if I'm the Bombers right now, DJ, I'm going to try to live up to my name and see if maybe we can test those defensive backs a little bit and get something down the field. We haven't seen much of that yet from A.J. Esther, with the exception of two plays. One was nice. The other one was intercepted.
It is kind of surprising. They've almost came out really conservative feeling as well. So it's almost like they're trying to slowly work Esther into the game instead of just letting him do what he's done all season as well, too. So I'm curious to see if now they've got a few drives in, maybe they start to let him air it out and do what he does best.
And not even, Vince, just a caveat on that, rolling out to the left, too. That's not the way to get your offense going.
Yeah, roll to your strong side. Roll right and make something happen. You're going to see now a offsides is called on the defense, so they get a few yards back here. And you're watching A.J. Esther now in the offense. What they're doing, they like to run this basically a two tight end set, although not traditional tight end as we know it in 11-man football. Courtney Davis on the left side of the line, and you'll see Demyron Smith, on the right side of the line as well. Two running backs in the backfield. Esther, play action fake, rolling right. He's got all kinds of trouble going the wrong way.
No. It started off good, and then it got a yikes, and then it went to just downright, oh my goodness, no.
Oh, the helmet's off.
Jacoby Cass there on the sack.
As much as we talked about getting him outside the pocket, especially to his right, once there's four guys surrounding you, that's probably time to just kind of flick it away or take the down, not trying to reverse field and outrun four guys. And very few people are getting away with that as well, too. And I know they kind of have some Lions-looking color jerseys there, but I don't know if he's going to get away with Barry Sandersing 30 yards in the backfield.
Yeah, and again, north-south, DJ, we talked about it earlier. There's very basic direction in football. You're not going to win going east-west. Doesn't make much sense here, especially if you're supposed to go north. Going south is definitely the wrong direction.
You might be able to pull off northeast, but southeast is definitely the wrong direction at that point.
A.J. Esther back at quarterback.
I think he's out there, Vincent.
And this one, he is out. You're right. Hands it off. That is Courtney Davis at quarterback that time. Gave it to Trey Richardson. Try to make something happen, and really nothing happening there, bringing up fourth down for the Bombers. And this is really a situation I'm all for going for it on fourth, but this looks like a punt situation.
Unless you got a play specifically designed to get 18 yards, it's really hard to kind of go for it in this situation, especially in the 9-man football league where we've seen quarterbacks are basically under siege right away. Most of the big plays are kind of just tossing it up there, but 4th 18, there's not a whole lot of room to work with.
Not a whole lot of options for sure on this one. Now you're going to see the punt happen. Again, there's no rushing the punter unless there is a fumble, in which case then you can go after the ball. The ball becomes live at that point. Here comes the punt. It is up. They got some dynamic athletes back here.
Got some movement.
He gets it to the left side, up the sideline, could return. And Jeff Flournoy continues to be a key player in this game. What a great return there for the Lumberjacks.
Yeah, making big plays.
Yeah, we can see here on the replay as well, too. Really good initial blocking there as well, too. And getting out to the edge. And honestly, right there, if they had just like another 3 or 4 feet of real estate width-wise, he might have turned that one up and got taken all the way to the house. Just ran out of lateral space.
Yeah, he had the blockers, just like you mentioned, just ran out of the field, but he definitely had the blockers in front of him to take it all the way. Great run back.
Philip Sanders with the punt. DJ mentioned his great defensive ability. I get to see him make his first play of the game with a punt. And again, Jeffrey Flournoy, big catch. He's had a big run. And now a big punt return. Here comes Derek Banks, fumbles the snap, tries to go forward, nowhere for him to go as the defense was all over him. You just can't keep making those silly mistakes.
Not at all as well, too. We see once again another really low snap brought to you by Croquet. Just tossing that out there as well, too. And Derek Banks has done a good job not letting them turn into catastrophic turnovers. But at some point, you got to kind of worry. They've been in full control of this game, but only have 6 points to show for it. So you got to hope that they're going to be able to get these little things under control to potentially blow this game open.
Yeah, and that snap wasn't horrible. It wasn't great either, but he was able to control it. He made the drop there. You gotta make the most out of it at this point for sure. And we see this defensive line has been really effective this year for the Bombers. Catrion Mingo, Jamaz Henry up front, Mark Stevenson. They're going to need to get some pressure back there on Derek Banks to make him have to throw something that he doesn't want to do. Big time play by the defense to get back there, but Banks holds on to it, pulls it back, makes a run up the sideline. Touchdown, Derek Banks Jr. The Lumberjacks continue to pile on.
The MVP.
We talked about having to make some big plays there, and, well, you saw it. You saw it. He was able to get around turn that one upfield, and he showed off some afterburns. You talked about people getting out of the way of him as business decisions. No one tried to get out of the way. They just couldn't get in the way at this point. He showed that second, third, and fourth gear up the sideline.
Nice little tightrope in that sideline, too. Little dance to finish it off. Again, making his case for MVP today.
Absolutely as well, too. And a chance here to give them a commanding lead here in the first half, which I don't think any of us fully expected it to go like this so far early on as well, too. Is going for 2, and this one, not quite as much luck there as they're going to hand it off, and that's to be stopped short. So it will remain a 12-0 lead for the Lumberjacks.
Yeah, the conversions have not been the strong point for this team. They've done a good job getting into the end zone, but then struggling after that to make anything happen on the conversion side of it. But you said it, DJ, still up 2 scores, 12-0. And again, Lumberjacks was the #1 scoring team in the season. We had a lot of attention on the Bombers' offense, and I think the Lumberjacks kind of maybe were quiet in their scoring, even though they scored the most points. They outscored the Lumberjacks the Bombers 114-112 on the season. And they're showing their dynamic offense. And again, Derek Banks, I think Banks has gotten stronger and stronger as the season has gone on. And just maybe it's that confidence, maybe, Jason, that's built up within him.
Yeah, you can see the big difference between him and AJ is able to step up and make plays in the pocket without a problem.
Now Esther trying to make things happen with his legs, starts left and breaks back to the right, gets a couple yards before finally being brought down by Jamad Armstrong on defense. And I think we need to see Esther start to take over the game, don't you think, DJ?
Absolutely, and that was actually really well timed what Jason was talking about. As Banks is able to step up, go north and south, step into the pocket. There, Esther trying to avoid some of the contact when he steps up is only able to gain about a yard. And you got to wonder if he's fully feeling okay, because he did take that big shot and then left the field for a little bit as well, too. So we'll have to keep an eye on how healthy is he feeling right now as well.
Esther will have
enough to knock his helmet off, DJ. So, yeah, you're right.
2 backs in the backfield. He gives it to the right side. Now he's going to run across the left side. I believe it's Trey Richardson getting a couple more yards, and they're trying to kind of chip away, which you're only down 2 scores. It's still the first half, so you can do that. But you want to be careful. You don't waste too much time chipping when you should be bombing down the field.
No pun intended, indeed. But like we said, got to make some rollout plays to the right and get him confidence and to make some throws. You can't grow confidence when you're rolling to your left, and it's really difficult to make those passes that way. So that's what I would do. Roll out to the right a little bit, get some short passes, get him going a little bit because they're going to have to do something here.
Looking to Dominic Pugh now. He's going to run to the left side. He's got makes a little bit of space. A nice run there by Dominic Pugh, one of Jason's favorite running backs in the league. Pew, pew. Pew, pew. Makes things happen there to the left side. And they got the sticks on the other side. So it's 4th down. Did not get the first down on that. Did get positive yardage. And now, DJ, I think we know what they're going to do. But what would you do if you were the Coach Witherspoon in this situation?
Pepe Le Pew on that run. Sorry.
If you plan on going for it here, I don't really hate the call. Maybe you catch him guessing, but I'm still not 100% sure about that. And you've struggled getting the edge on these around the edge runs, especially the last few drives. I think you got to give Esther a chance. I know it's been a little bit of a struggle. I know there's a chance he might be dinged up. I think you got to give him a chance, especially because now it looks like they're going to punt it on this one in this 4th and 4. So I really don't like that call on 3rd down and 9 now at this point.
Yeah,
great.
This is tough for the Bombers to do here, but at the same time, they don't make this 4th down. They're basically handing the Lumberjacks another touchdown.
All right, so flag down on the play. Another unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. I wish we had a microphone on the ref because I'm not sure what in the world you're calling unsportsmanlike. I thought maybe it was going to be a delay of game or something. It took him a long time to get going.
I cannot imagine on this planet we would be calling penalties for men cursing. I'm sorry, this makes no sense at all.
What if they're saying something like really, really mean Harry Potter curses like Avada Kedavra or something like that? As well? So like maybe they're getting real serious with it.
Well, to be fair, I was in the Marines, so I curse a lot. So come on.
That's
Philip
true. I mean,
punts this one down. There's a big return. You remember last time. Now we're going to see cutting it forward and back, and this time they do not let anything go on. They hold the punt returner to nothing. So 12-0. We're closing down towards the end of the first half. Lumberjacks lead by 2 scores. Jason, do you go aggressive and try to get 3 scores, or do you go more conservatively and try to run out the clock?
Well, it's one of those. Let's do a couple plays, see where that leads us, and then we'll kind of play it out from there. You know, if you get a nice 10-yard run or something, break off something nice, and maybe we play around a little bit. You know, if not, then we play it conservative. We got the lead. You know, let's take it in, not give the Bombers any momentum going into the second half.
Derek Banks Jr. at quarterback, looking to throw it quickly out to the left. He's got his receiver there, only a couple of yards, not a whole lot happening. A great job, and they're going to roll the clock here. Usually in the last minute, they would stop the clock, but the official says he was not out of bounds before he got brought down, so go ahead and roll it. But there's a penalty flag, it looks like, again on the play. This one will be on the Lumberjacks, so they'll move them back a couple yards. All right, so DJ, we saw him go quickly to the left, looking for something fast. Is that setting up something for something deep eventually?
If I have an MVP candidate like Derek Banks, a quarterback who's been cooking today, I would give him a chance to take a shot here, but that's just me.
He goes short to the right. It is tipped and dropped down there as they go quickly out to the right side. Cannot make things happen. Tyrese Moore, we're seeing him used often here so far in the first half for the Lumberjacks. Couldn't make the catch. Looks like the defense got a hand on it as well.
Yeah, that was the big mistake I was talking about. If that's a catch, that's to the house, and they got a touchdown right before the end of the half. So you got to be careful when you're making these plays, especially right before the end of the half.
Derek Banks Jr. in shotgun. He's got Tyrese Moore to his right. Taking the snap, dropping back, rush straight up the middle. He's going deep on the left. Whoa! Oh, man. And what a hit. There's 2 flags fly on the play.
Ooh.
What a huge hit stick, and then a host of flags came flying out on that one as well, too. That looks like they're gonna call us on the defense, but what an incredible job getting there late in the wood.
didn't seem like a hit worth penalty worth. I mean, it's just a nice timed hit. Not sure what the penalty's for, but maybe they're not allowed to do those. Maybe a blindside hit in this league.
Looked to me like he got him in the chest right as he caught the football. Looked clean. DJ, your thoughts on it?
Shoulder hit him right in the chest. I mean, it doesn't get too much better than that. No helmet-to-helmet contact. I thought that was a pretty clean hit, but it's going to set the Lumberjacks up with some prime field position. And Derek Banks throws
to the left.
Laser beam following it up. And my goodness, rumbling, bumbling, and stumbling forward as well. So the Lumberjack capitalizing on it and get it inside the 5-yard line. So my goodness, what an incredible play following the penalty.
Dimitri Casey, who we talked about defensively, coming up with a huge offensive play and a huge quick shot out to the left, make things happen there. Derek Banks and this offense trying to get a score in.
1 versus 4. I mean, he was not going to be denied. What a great run. Nice juke to set it up and way to power it almost all the way to the TD.
Derek Banks now trying to get it in the end zone before halftime. The snap, the hand of Williams up the middle. And they say down short of the goal line. So we're going to get another opportunity.
Yeah, that's a big stop for the Bombers. Stop this momentum. Again, I'm not sure what's going on with the Mater clock, but we might have a little bit extra time left, so we'll see.
Soccer clock as normal for us, and I'm telling you, these guys are big up front. Jamas Hendry, Catrion Mingo, Mark Stevenson can clog the middle. Maybe you try to go outside here. They're going to go with Cass. No, it's a fake. Banks keeps it, scores. Touchdown, Lumberjacks. Third touchdown of the half for the Lumberjacks.
Job of just getting the ball into your playmakers' hands there as well, too, on the goal line. After seeing that first down carry where they ran into everybody as well, too. The defense keyed it on the running back, and they let Banks get loose for the first time. They unfortunately let Banks get loose, it felt like, in a while, and he's able to capitalize.
Yeah, they put big Jacoby Cass up beside him. He's a big old fella. Play action to him. The defense seemed to bite on that, thinking maybe they would go with the weight up the middle. And Banks holds on to it his second time that he pulled back and well.
I think they're talking about this, Vince. I don't think he got in. I think they're talking about it. I think he just signaled.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we're going to 3rd and goal on here. They think they signaled him not. We got the touchdown early.
Okay, they official just cussed. They can't flag anybody anymore. This time they give it to Cass, trying to get up the left side, and he's short of the goal line as well, which I believe is going to bring us to halftime.
A strange ending indeed. DJ, but you mentioned it. They finally give it to the big boy, but he doesn't go up the middle. What was the point of that?
North and south. We have hammered this one home. Not this time. We said northeast is acceptable. Not when you're a yard away, and not when you're the big guy. You got to go north and south on that one. They just got to go straight. I know it was supposed to be kind of like a read option, give Banks a back door, but at that point you just kind of catch the ball, turn 90 degrees, and flip your shoulders into the end zone.
Well, gentlemen, we made it to halftime, and an interesting half it was. Lumberjacks lead 12-0. We're going to send you back after this commercial to the halftime show. We'll be back with the second half here in several minutes. Lumberjacks lead the NLFA Championship 12-0. We'll be back after these commercial break.
Hayden, we love fantasy football. We do? It's a fantastic game, yet still not perfect. Like, I hate leaving high-scoring players on my bench.
The worst, man.
In fact, hate it even more when I put injured players and they're in my starting lineup.
Can't have that.
And I need a life. The waivers, the trades, every single week, it grinds on me. So we at Underdog Fantasy want to make fantasy football easier for everyone out there. It's called Best Ball, and we set your optimal lineup for you each and every week. You can do it all year long. We have drafts going all the way from February to week 1 of the NFL season. What are you waiting for? Use our awesome early sign-up offer to get a little extra something on that first deposit and that first time you play on Underdog Fantasy.
You put them up, reach the skies, touch the stars up above, cause it's one time for the underdog, one time for the underdog.
And we welcome you back to the studio for this special championship edition of our halftime report, brought to you by Belly Up Sports. And I don't know about you guys, but if there's one thing I learned in that first half, it's that it is not acceptable in football to go southeast. I don't know about you guys, but geography.
I learned a lot about having a compass these days. But I will say, I'm going to start this off, and I don't mean to steal your thunder here, Andrew, but we talked about the two-way playing, right? And hydration possibly being an issue. Dimitri Casey is my stud of this first half. Obviously, Derek Banks had a great first half, but look at Dimitri Casey, the way he's playing inside linebacker and on the offensive side of the football, making a big difference for this Lumberjack team.
Yeah, Casey's been a key for them on defense. Sorry to cut you off there, Kelsey. Go ahead.
I was going to say, well, to your point, though, Andy, you can't take away anything Banks has done either.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Rattling off a 35-yard touchdown run himself, along with his scamper of a 6-yard right up through the middle on that first touchdown. So it's hard to pick between the two because they have both had such a fantastic first half, really.
Let's say unexpected stud for Dimitri Casey. But Derek Banks had a phenomenal first half. And I think we saw, and we all agree, I think this is the point we all agreed on, though, was that if Esther was moving, he had to move for the right purpose, and he hasn't been moving for the right purpose in this first half.
Definitely.
That's 100% correct. And I think the other surprising thing about this half was how much the refs have been involved. For the most part this season, we haven't seen many flags. So how does everyone feel about that I guess it was late hit or targeting call? Because if you ask me, that looked like a textbook tackle and just a great hit by the defense.
Let's looking at this, you see him come across, he hits him square in the chest. I know he is stretched out, but that is the one they talk about for years. You talk about Chris Carter, you talk about Randy Moss, you talk about the greats of our generation going across the middle. That is the play that their quarterback just let him out to dry. And if there's one complaint I had for anything that Banks did, it was letting his quarterback be out to dry on that, or letting his receiver hang out to dry on that one. Because that's a hospital ball. That is what that is. That's literally what the hospital ball terminology was created because of. And that was, it's a great hit. I get the scary rules of the nature. We have the luxury of replay. They don't. Yeah. Plus, can we talk about that sound that made? That did make a resounding thump, to say the least. So
I felt it up here in New York.
Yeah. But I get the call for it. I get the call, but I don't like it.
Yeah. I'm with Kelsey on this. And I think, so I played defense my entire football career, really, except for 1 year when I was a quarterback. Just gonna throw that out there. But let's talk about this, though.
The last year he was a quarterback.
If it was a crack block from the offense on a defensive player, it wouldn't be called. And it's a similar situation because a crack block happens when a defensive player is not paying attention and you get ear-holed by a little wide receiver. Happened to me a couple times in my football career. So I understand the call. Trust me, I understand the safety of the game. I think it was a beautiful tackle. And I 2 thumbs down for the call, but again, understand it.
Yeah. Can we talk about some of these interesting penalties during the first half of the game? And it was, I think it was Jason or DJ had pointed it out about the unsportsmanlike conduct penalties in the Bombers. It's okay. I get it. A little chintzy, a little ticky-tacky, but at the same time, if the referee asks you not to do something, don't do it. That's why you'll get those penalties. That's why it either advances the other team forward or drives you back.
Yes and no. And here's the thing. They haven't called this all season long.
They haven't, no.
We have heard many, many words that got clipped out during our editing process for some of these videos, and they did not get called. And because we're in a championship game, they're getting called. I'm not a fan of that situation. But to your point, you're playing a sport. You're playing by a set of rules. And one of those rules is don't cuss at the referee. It's I don't like it. Again, this is one I don't like. I get it, but I don't like that they haven't been calling it all season. And now all of a sudden last game of the year, can't hold anything back. Okay, we're gonna throw all the flags. Like, no, that's not the time. You can't hold it. That's not what they mean by can't hold anything back.
Well, regardless,
very Angel Martinez-ish.
Oh God!
I need to credit Kelsey for the Waterboy reference in his line right there. Last game of the year, can't hold anything back. That was brilliant. I might be the only one that caught that, but it was great. It's a good question, Andrew, though, and Ryan, I want your input on this next, but like emotions are going to be higher in a championship game, no matter what. And refs, coaches, us as people that are calling the game, and the broadcast team, Jason, Vince, and DJ, we all know that. So yes, there's rules, but in you see it all the time in the NFL and in the NBA. You see rules get bent, so to speak, a little bit in playoff atmosphere because it is more competitive. So I would like to see that in the second half. Do I think it had a huge effect on the game? Honestly, I personally don't. I think the Lumberjacks honestly just came out and smacked the Bombers around. Ryan, what do you think on that one?
Go ahead.
Yeah, during the first drive, I thought the Bombers looked pretty crisp. They looked well. They're well rested, but that fumble on the mishandle on the handoff that killed them. That killed any momentum they would have had trying to get the first score. And what happens? Lumberjacks turn around, they score a touchdown. So the interception by Esther that was a bad decision. That's a bad decision by the quarterback. And if you're a quarterback in any league, whether it be in the NFL, the CFL, the NLFA, if you're a quarterback, yeah, there's the interception. Here's Esther making a bad decision. If you're getting caught, if you got nowhere to go, either run out of bounds or just throw it out of bounds. You just can't make those kind of mistakes especially in a championship game.
Yeah, go ahead, Andrew. You haven't had move on. Go ahead. I was shutting you up because, but
just watching that replay there, I think there's something to be said about I hate calling individual players out, but that receiver there seemed to give up on the play the second he saw the ball go up. Now, granted, it was far away from him, but he didn't even try to go over and play defense. He knew that ball was coming nowhere near him. He could have tried to run over there and try to maybe swat it down or something, but it was still a bad play by Esther. I still put that on Esther.
I mean, to your point of the receiver, though, like the receiver's job in a scramble situation, one goes to the sideline, one comes back to the quarterback.
Yeah.
And you saw it right there. One went to the sideline, and the other guy just like, all right, I'm standing 20 yards away from you. I'm going to hang out here. And we talked about, I mentioned this with Esther earlier, once he starts trying to make Johnny Manziel like plays, especially going to his left, that ball flutters. And that's exactly what happened. He tried to step into it, and that ball just fluttered high and right. Yeah. Northeast, in that case, DJ, if you're listening, was a bad direction.
Yeah, crossbody throws in that kind of situation can either be a blessing or it could backfire on you. And obviously that backfired on you. To Andrew's point, the receiver should have at least come back to the ball, but at the same time, you can't make a play like that in a championship game.
No, it's not the time for that. And I think what we can all agree on is that there's been some key mistakes made in this first half, and as well as some questionable calls. But in the end, the mistakes are going to weigh heavier. And I think the question now going forward is, can the Bombers respond and recover from? I think that the hit that got called for the unsportsmanlike is going to be something that they are going to need to mentally recover from, because you saw how upset they were after that play because they felt it was clean. That's going to be something that they got to put behind them now and move forward, because look, this is still a game that's within striking reach for them. 12-0 is something they can do in the second half. So I'll be curious to see if they can limit these mistakes and get their heads back around. Does anyone have any more final thoughts before we hit the commercial and get back to the booth?
If I'm the Bombers, I am severely worried about their shotgun snapping. So that's definitely an adjustment I would want to make. No more shiny balls through the wishbone. But honestly, if I'm the Lumberjacks, pedal to the metal, keep going. Yes. I mean, they're playing a great football game.
If I'm the Bombers, I'm putting an extra man on that offensive line. Make it four linemen. Maybe try to chip off the edge a little bit on the edge, and so they don't get to Esther, and Esther can't make those mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, you guys hit both of the nails on the head. I will say, I mean, save the shiny ball through the wicket on June 2nd. That's when competition starts. But it's Like it is what it is for the Bombers right now. You got hit in the mouth. What are you going to do in the second half and come out and respond? How are you going to respond? And look, they've been the team of the season up until this point. Let's just be completely honest. They have been one of the best team from start to finish at this point in time. Lumberjacks made a great comeback of it, and the Lumberjacks are continuing their momentum. But can the Bombers in the second half just be like, all right, we are that team? And that's what I want to look forward to, the Bombers. I want to see them put it aside. You have 2 bookend tackles that are 280 pounds. Use them, and like what Ryan said, offset your line so you have both of them as your leading blockers. It'll work wonders. You'd be surprised exactly what can happen there.
Well, I think you heard it all here. I think we know what we think should happen in the second half, and now we'll just see what comes to play.
One more quick point. If I'm the Bombers, keep getting Dominic Pugh involved. Keep getting him involved.
He may have had the fumble, but he's your most electrifying running back.
That's what I'm saying. He needs the ball in his hand.
Absolutely.
Yes, he is.
Hopefully both hands.
Well, that's gonna do it for us in this app.
That hospital nurse art.
Why? Come on, right when I'm talking. That's going to do it for us here at halftime. We're going to kick it back to the booth after this quick commercial break from TSS Fantasy.
Hey everyone, it's Commissioner Cooper from TSS Fantasy. Want to give your own fantasy league that extra professional touch? Say less, we got you. TSS was based off a show that we did on our own fantasy league. Night, sorry, and now possible play hole. You're on your way. Now we want to bring that professional, fun, and creative side to your fantasy league. And you can do it for as low as $5 extra per owner.
Oh my.
I will guarantee it will increase your interactions within the league, create more fun, friendly banter, and give your league that extra real-life feel that you didn't know it needed. We look forward to interacting with you and your league soon. Don't forget TSSFantasy.com. Go visit it today. Get signed up. We are the fantasy show of the people.
Vince is frozen again.
All right, so getting ready for the second half action. Jason, I'm going to ask you, what do you want to see the Lumberjacks do in the second half? Do you want to see them kind of crank things up to 11, or do you think they should maybe play a little conservative and let the Bombers continue to self-implode?
I mean, we talked about it earlier, you don't win by putting your foot off the gas, so to speak. It's time to go full bore. You talked about it right before the half. I definitely would bring it up now. Let's get Banks on a roll, start opening up. He looks like he is a man on a mission today. He's doing it with his legs. He's doing it in the air. So I would just let Banks take this game over and start throwing downfield.
Absolutely. And if I'm the Bombers, I'm going to start trying to just get anything down the field, because right now the lateral run game is not working. I'm going to start at this point, you're falling apart. You had a miserable first half, but you're down by 2 scores. They can't even get 2-point conversions. And you had a big 3-play goal line stop. I'm going to start trying to take my shots at this point too. And Vince, we have you back, so I'm going to let you go and captain the ship, or lead us on into the second half.
Well, thank you, guys. Thanks for carrying the load. Sorry about that. Anytime we play a commercial, for whatever reason, I can't get back on for a second. But we're back now, and good to be back. Second half. Let's go ahead and get the game rolling right ahead there. And Derek Banks back to and immediately look into that run game and see him moving forward. And I'm curious to see if we're going to see more of that quick pass game to be kind of an addition to that run game here in the second half, where it's a safe throw, but it gets them some space and some opportunity and still keeps the ball moving forward.
Yeah, Lumberjacks checked the DJ and Jason compass at the half and noticed it said north-south. That's what we do here. Run north. That's what they're doing. That's the smart thing to do. And let's pull forward. And again, The Bombers right now are reeling a little bit. Let's smack them in the mouth and get a score, really put them on their heels to start the second half.
They're going to go 5 men on the line, try to give it to Chris Williams. He cuts back to the middle. Ball is loose. Bombers are on it. Are they going to call it
a fumble, Vince? You think that is a fumble?
Sure enough.
Wow, big play for the Bombers. That's a huge play for the Bombers to start out. You know, we just talked about the Lumberjacks getting a big score at the end of this drive, really putting the foot on the neck, of the Bombers. But a way to turn the things around here with the turnover, and let's see if that momentum can change things around for the Bombers.
A clutch play.
Field position as well, too.
Yes, a clutch play, and good reminder, intheclutch.com, use code BellyUpFantasy, get 10% off your purchase, your first purchase there. Awesome website, awesome shirts, and licensed apparel for you. Esther, now back to pass, looking to the right side. There's a catch, and trying to avoid tacklers, not going down easily, reaching forward, and that's the second time we've seen Demyron Smith off the right side. That little play, and again, Jason, you talked about this. Go right with the strength of your quarterback, opposed to making him run and throw across his body.
Yeah, I noticed actually he did roll to the right, but there doesn't seem to be confidence. There's a big difference between the ball he's delivering and the ball Banks delivering. That took like a minute to get there, where Banks would have rifled that right in. So, again, I don't know if it's the injury or just arm strength at this point, but a big difference right now.
Looking to throw the ball again. Guy in his face. Flag flies. The pass incomplete as he's getting hit. Let's see what the flag is. There's not been a shortage of laundry on the field in this game.
That's the way they like to keep the championship, full of laundry.
AJ Esther holding out his hands saying, "What in the world, dude?" Not blaming his teammates. Not happy with the ref, though. And back.
Jason, you might have a little bit of a Nostradamus in you, because this is the third time you mentioned something, and then right a second later the play happens as well too. You mentioned Esther and the arm strength, and right there we saw, even with the guy in his face, that one died about 10 yards short as well too. That could have been the defense, but it isn't. That's the second time you've done that. So if this continues, you're picking some lottery tickets for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say it, but then I thought he might have got hit on that too, DJ. But I appreciate the boost in the confidence.
Here we go. Dominic Pugh around to the right side. Whoa, what a tackle. Ball's loose. Looks like the official's pointing down.
Looks like got him down and got an injured player, Lumberjack, down there as well.
That was quite the hit. The referee is waving at you, Jason. Okay. Okay.
I appreciate all the shout outs this year, Jason. I appreciate it. I don't see only thing I don't see Easy this week though. That's
no Easy. I was looking for him as well. But we've been fortunate this season. Not a lot of major injuries have gone on. They had 1 week where there was a lot of heat issues. But outside of that, AJ Esther now talking to his tight end, Demyron Smith. He has 2 catches so far on the day. He'll be on lineup on the left side of the line now.
Did you think he told him to roll right?
He's going to say roll left, and Esther's going to run. We like to see Esther running. He gets slaughtered at the end of the play, but some positive yards, and Dimitri Casey with a huge hit, and Esther is down.
You hate to see that. He does a fantastic job in open space, making a man miss, but unfortunately juking right into the huge hit from another defender, and he's going to be out for this big 4th down as well, too. And that's the second time he's taken a big hit and had to leave the game. Hopefully he'll be able to come back and is healthy.
Courtney Davis in at quarterback. He's going to hand it to Richardson, going up the right side, getting brought down immediately by Dimitri Casey again. And
maybe I am Nostradamus. I did shout out Dimitri Casey as well earlier. So, hey, maybe I got something going here.
First down for the Bombers, or is it 4th down now?
It might be a case of the Maynard clock. I'm not sure.
We appreciate all the hardworking people at Belly Up TV to put together graphics and different things. We apologize for any of them that are off, but here we go. We are continuing to move forward. Courtney Davis again at quarterback with Esther out with the injury. Davis takes the snap, bad snap over his head. Davis picks it up, and he is going to get brought down way back there behind the line. That is Byron Turner chasing down Davis, and that's not what you wanted if you're the Bombers.
Well, that one's definitely not brought to you by Croquet because that one shot over his head like a cannon. That one might be brought to you by Shot Put if we ever cover that as well too, because that one was that was a laser beam right over the quarterback's head. And well, now the Lumberjacks not only are going to get the ball, but they're going to get it in fantastic field position on top of that as well too, at this rate.
So we talked about earlier the differences between Bank and Esther, and I have to say there's been a couple of them so far tonight that almost went over Bank's head, but he's large and able to grab them because he's such a great athlete. So again, another advantage for the Lumberjacks we're starting to see play out, even though, again, all the snaps aren't great, but at least Banks has been able to haul them in and make something out of it.
Bombers still have the ball. So Corey Davis, I think originally there was a first down. So I think we're sitting at second down or so. Courtney Davis, takes the snap, dropping back to pass, throwing to the right. The first time we've seen him throw the football.
Oh,
and faster than the camera on that one.
I think he kind of confused the camera guy. He had a little bit of hesitation there.
I think
Turned
that
into an unintentional pump fake.
And I think that was fourth down, Vince. And, again, okay, so I don't know why he didn't catch the ball, but the question would arise, why are you throwing it for 5 yards when it's 4th and 18?
Yes. Very good question, Jason. You have to know where you are in the game. And even if you're the backup quarterback that hasn't really played quarterback all season, if it's 4th down and 18, and the play call needs to be, if you're going to go for it, well, let's just run them straight down the sideline, throw it as far as we can, and see if we can make something happen. Ted Nellums has been faster than most of the defenders, and he's made some big plays, and we don't even get a chance to see that happen. So we'll see the Lumberjacks take over Derek Banks at quarterback. They got a man in motion. They're going to give it to him. It's Flournoy. He's trying to cut back, can't get anywhere. Good job by the defense to contain their DJ. Bombers defense containing at least to this point here so far.
Bill Belichick would be smiling if he saw that defense. And it'd be a rare occasion because he doesn't actually smile, but he'd be close to it as well. He might, his lip might move a little bit because everyone in the front line of that defense held their gap. And even when we saw them trying to go north and south, like the Jason Compass predicts and the Jason DJ Compass asks for, every gap was filled, and all he was able to do is kind of stumble forward up to the line of scrimmage. So fantastic job holding the gaps on the Bombers defense.
Great job to catch yourself saying you said Belichick would smile. But Derek Banks now back, and he's going to look to pass down the left side. He's got a man running. What a catch. What a throw. Cutting across the middle of the field all the way down. He's going to score. Touchdown, Lumberjacks.
The Bombers officially were hit by a smooth criminal right there for sure. What a throw. What a smooth run down for the touchdown. What a great play.
And an absolutely beautiful ball by Derek Banks, that MVP candidate, layering it right over the defensive player, right into his receiver's hands. And after that, he just took off and exploded right up the center of the defense. And fantastic job in the Lumberjacks continuing to pour on the Bombers and ground them so far, even into the second half.
One of the better throws we've seen all season, right on target, in stride, over the defender. And then the receiver catches it and cuts through the middle as well into open space to get the touchdown. I believe it was Marvin Carter on the touchdown. I could be wrong. It could have been Justin LeBlanc as well, but I believe it was Marvin Carter. But that's another huge play. We've seen him take a couple shots down that left side. I don't know if they're picking on the corner over there or if that's just the pass that they like, but you see Marvin Carter going there to the left here again. Williams in the backfield. They got an extra blocker on the line. They're going to give it to Williams. He gets in. They finally get a conversion. First conversion completed of the day. Lumberjacks 20-0 here in the third quarter. And Jason, we've seen both of these teams. Me and you have called games so far this season. This is a surprise, even though the Lumberjacks had won one game earlier in the season, 22-2. This is a surprise to me in the championship game so far.
Yeah, this is a surprise to me as well, but I'll just go back. I feel like we're going to go back to that first half when the Bombers, it was 6-0, and the Bombers stuffed the Lumberjacks on a 4th down call, and they make a silly mistake, start that drive off 15 yards back. That were made by the Bombers early, and I think it's just kind of set the momentum going forward. Kind of feeling like they're ready to bend the knee, Vince, to be honest with you.
Well, and they're in trouble because they've got their starting quarterback out injured. Courtney Davis in at quarterback. We've seen him throw one pass so far, incomplete. Here comes the drop back. They got him all over the place. Flags down. He does complete the pass to the right side. Let's see what the flag is. Ted Nellums with the catch.
Nice throw. Way to make something happen. Again, Lumberjacks starting to smell blood.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, one of their better pass plays of the day is not going to count by the looks of it. It looks like this one might be coming back as well, too. So I think they might have something with these. Quickly will get the ball out of the hands in the flats quickly and try and get upfield, because we see the Lumberjacks starting to key in. They were keying in on the Bombers' running attack. So maybe they could take a page out of the Lumberjacks playbook and catch, flip to the flat, let them dance.
If you're going to hold a guy, you better hold him. They were all over Courtney Davis, and they still get called with the hold. So at some point, you got to realize, hey, I either got to commit to this or I just got to let him go and trust that Davis is going to get rid of it in time. The snap to Davis, he's going to throw again, this time to the left. Intercepted and off and running. Touchdown, Lumberjacks, just like that. Wow, that's Telly Ford with the interception, the pick six, and the Lumberjacks are sitting here going, I think we got this.
Pressure on the patella. As I mentioned, it is bending the knee time coming up. My bad, DJ. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I would say Telly Ford is telling them that this game is going to go, that the Lumberjacks are going to be the champions at the rate this is going as well, too. The Bombers are really, they haven't been able to get anything going. You're down to your backup quarterback, and Lumberjacks at this point, the question is, are they going to stop here? Are they going to get 30, 40, maybe 44, 45, 50? Like, when is it going to stop at this point, the rate it's going? Or can the Bombers at least slow down the bleeding?
Fortunate it's not Telly Dodge, or else he would have caught it and broke down right there. But he makes it to the end zone for the pick six. They'll go for the conversion here. Chris Williams again in the backfield. They're looking to him. He's going to roll. Let's see if they give it to him. I see some clapping, and I see an official with no hand signals.
Sure looked close. Looked like he was into me. Way he got up from the pile, but
according to the Madar,
according to no one,
we got Madar keeps it. It's our belly up radar from Dan Mader. Says no conversion. 26-0 is the score. Lumberjacks are just literally taking them to the woodshed. I mean, it's everything that I mean, if you're a player right now, DJ, let's go to you on this. Bombers down 26-0, running out of time in the third quarter. What are you trying to do now? Are you trying to win the game, or are you trying to just come out of here not embarrassed?
Yes. Like you definitely always want to try and win, but at this point, the biggest thing is to be like, all right, we got to at least mitigate the embarrassment a little bit. Let's see if we can get into the end zone, and at least if nothing else, we didn't get shut out. Is what you got to be feeling at this point. Just get something going, or at least bleed the clock so it doesn't get worse. Like you just want to get something positive going.
I just want to know how long Vince was holding that woodcheck comment for.
Courtney Davis, we're going to see his legs now. He gets out to the right side, just a yard or so. Again, a high snap. They fixed the low snaps, Jason. But now they're out there shooting threes like they're in the FBA, coming to Belly Up TV soon. Or right over the heads of the quarterbacks.
Yeah, nice segue. The Florida Basketball Association coming to Belly Up TV. We're excited for that. Yeah, again, we've talked about this, talked about it. The snaps. If you can't get that first thing off, the play's not going to go well. And it's either low, high, doesn't matter. Bombers are not in sync. The week off definitely hurt them.
Courtney Davis. Not only did he have a week off, but he has not played quarterback at all this season. Whoa, what a play to Dominic Pugh. Maybe should have just kept it. Pugh changes direction, and he gets stood up by the Lumberjack defense. I'm not sure it was worth it. DJ, why didn't Courtney just hang on to it and keep running to the right?
Your guess is as good as mine. That play didn't have a shot, no matter whether it was Pugh or Courtney or whoever had the ball. That one, a weird snap. It looked like the quarterback rolled right. Everyone went left. That one, I think, just kind of blown up from the beginning as well, too. And the Bombers continuing to shoot themselves in the foot as well, too. No, not the kind of good pews they were looking for on that one as well, too. Those were pews into their own foot.
Yeah, if you guys notice, there's nothing sharp on the Bombers line. Everything's just a little not in sync, a little sloppy. Whereas you see, Banks is choom, choom, choom all day. MVP candidate showing he should be MVP of the league.
The gentleman in the truck with a great point. It looked like when you're playing Madden and you hit the wrong button, hit the pitch button, and all of a sudden it goes all the way across the field. Well, we are at the end of the third quarter. Lumberjacks lead 26-0 in the NLFA Championship on Belly Up TV. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with the fourth quarter after this commercial break.
Hey, everybody, it's Vince with the Sports Stove Podcast, inviting you to join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Belly Up TV, 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. as well. The Sports Stove Podcast is a traditional sports talk show talking about professional and collegiate sports. We've got great guests. We've had Division I head football coaches like Walt Wells from Eastern Kentucky, Tom Allen from Indiana. We've had an athletic director. We've had a conference president, professional athletes, UFC fighters, the whole gamut, along with media personalities from around the world. So we encourage you to tune in. Of course, you can always get the audio wherever you get your podcast for the Sports Stove Podcast. But tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and see what's cooking on the Sports Stove Podcast.
What's not cooking is the Bombers offense. That is for certain. DJ, do you think they got it in them to make a huge comeback?
They're going to have a bombs away play here soon if they want it. They're going to have to find a deep shot here, real quick, fast scenario. And they're going for it here. Fantastic play, and that is intercepted and running back the other way, breaking a tackle, going south on the compass, but still a huge takeaway for the Lumberjacks. And well, I said they needed to have a big bombs away play, not a pre-blowing up bomb there, and that's going to give Lumberjacks really good field position and the ball yet again.
Telly Ford with the second interception of the ball game. The defense has been the highlight of this game so far. It has been for two high-scoring offenses. It's really been about this Lumberjack defense so far. The offense has been good, yes, but man. And again, you're talking about a team that's down their starting quarterback, not just their starting quarterback, Jason, but their MVP candidate starting quarterback. You know that's going to play a role, but they're already down 26-0.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a huge role. Like I said, I think the momentum really shifted it right there at the end of the first half. Bombers just looked defeated coming into the second half, just not sharp. That week off really did hurt them. The Lumberjacks had just been a nonstop freight train running through this league.
Chris Williams up the middle, a couple yards there. I had the opportunity to talk with Indiana head football coach Tom Allen earlier today and kind of talking about that. How do you handle adversity? Because last year they went from coming off this huge season to all of a sudden an only 2-win season. And right now, if you're Coach Witherspoon, you got to figure out some adversity ways to overcome here in this fourth quarter. And DJ, again, getting back to that. Let's not get embarrassed. Let's not get shut out at least. Let's get something other than donuts on the scoreboard.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's just a little bit of a matter of pride thing as well, too. I mean, nothing's going to make it better, but at least you could just hurt a little bit less as well. As a rarity, there's Derek Banks, a one-hopping one there as well, too. A very rare sight. He's been on point today.
That pass almost looked like it was backwards.
It does. Did, Vince. I was a little questioning that myself. Why is that not a live football right now? I'm a little surprised they called that incomplete and not a fumble.
Yeah, I'm surprised as well. And I mean, yeah, it's interesting because the defense did a great job, picked it up, took off running, figured, hey, let's take a shot here. And the officials, they'll blow it dead. Third down, about 6 to go.
They could have just gave him one.
Right, why not? Devontae West in the backfield. Throws a nice block for him. That ball is thrown out to the left side. Is that intercepted? It is flagged down, though. Let's see what happens.
It's like we do got a host of laundry out there too.
Like they were dancing with each other a little bit down there. So it'd be interesting to see who they call this on. I would have just had that a no call. Looked like they're both on each other.
And looking
looks
for
like
the
they're
calls.
taking the ball.
No, go ahead.
All right, looks like the Bombers offense does come onto the field. They're marching it back. So I'm assuming there was a penalty on the Lumberjacks after the interception. He is pointing towards the Lumberjacks. So it'll be first down and 10 for the Bombers. Finally a break for them for the positive. They get the interception, and now they get the penalty as well, so they get a little help on the field position as well.
Well, they may be a little too late, but they at least get a little bit of something to get this offense sparked up. Again, not much time left, but they're going to have to take shots downfield and get quick scores if they expect to get any type of momentum, get this ball game going.
Courtney Davis coming off an interception. Dropping back, looking to go quickly to the left. He hits his man, trying to make plays happen. Ball is loose, and off goes the Lumberjack defense again. Touchdown, Lumberjacks. A second defensive score of the game for the Lumberjacks, and it is officially Andy Sire ugly in this game.
Well, Jason, you asked for a quick score. You didn't say who had to do it quickly, though. I mean, you got a 7-second score there, but once again, another huge mistake hurting the Bombers, and the Lumberjacks starting to pour it on at this point.
Yeah, it's starting to get ugly up in here. I think that they, the absence of AJ really kind of hurt the Bombers. They're already kind of reeling from the refs a little earlier. You could see it in their body, in their body language. So, again, there's not much else left to do here for the Bombers, but again, bend the knee, pressure on the patella.
32-0. Eric Banks now brings the offense up for the conversion. He's got two backs in the backfield, including Byron Turner, who usually plays right tackle for them. Snap. They're going to give it to Turner. He's going to try to run it straight up the middle, but a good job. Still showing some effort on defense for the Bombers. Hold them so they do not get the conversion. And so there have been some positive defensive plays for the Bombers here with the interception and now the stop on the conversion. But at the end of the day, 32-0. It's hard to get a guys motivated in a fourth quarter of a game when you're down 32-0. DJ, is there any way to motivate somebody other than, dangling a carrot of money in front of them at this point?
Well, with the way the Bombers defenses are playing, I feel like you just need to find a way to spot the Lumberjacks the ball inside the 5, because their goal line and 2-point conversion defense has been really good, including that stop before the end of the half and a lot of these 2-point conversions. The problem is everything else in the Lumberjacks are scoring from well beyond that point as well, too. So maybe they could just give the Lumberjacks the ball inside the 5 to start every drive. They might have had a chance to work their way back into it.
Well, we'll pass that along, and maybe they'll do it. All right, here we go. Look at the offensive lineman with some fun hand motions. All right, here we go. Courtney Davis back at quarterback. Going to run to the right. Now he's going to throw it to Pugh, who makes the catch. I don't think they got any yards on that play. Davis maybe a little dangerous there because he was going to get tackled. He thought, I'm going to get rid of it, but instead of throwing it away, he throws it to his running back, Dominique Pugh, who makes the catch for little to 0 yards.
Yeah, it didn't look like that play was set up with much success, to be quite frank. A lot of Lumberjacks, very little Bombers around the area. So not a very successful one, that one.
I wonder if the Bombers would consider other quarterbacks at this point. They've got several on the roster, but it's the 6', 155, 3-year vet. He's been around on this team now for a while. Courtney Davis in for A.J. Esther. And the defense all over him here. He's looking to throw this one on, and he gets it out again, completed and brought down after a short gain there.
I mean, it's a good throw, good catch, but Vince, we got to get upfield. I mean, what are we doing here? You might as well just take your shots at this point and have some fun. You're about to close out the season. Throw everything out in the kitchen sink that you got. Throw it downfield a little bit and have some fun while we're here.
100%. This is when you pull out all your trick plays, anything that's like you said. Let's have some fun. Do something with it here. Playing conservative down 32-0. It's not going to help you at all. If you throw another interception, it really doesn't change the outcome of the game at this point. So take some shots. And poor Ted Nellums, he's had some huge games this season. Been a dynamic receiver for this team, and really has had very little opportunity so far in this game. And now the snap. Back to pass. Looking left. Throwing left. This one is tipped. Incomplete. And the Bombers continue to struggle to find any kind of positive momentum on offense.
Luckily, that one was a little bit inaccurate for everybody because it was a lot closer to the defensive back than it was to his receiver. Just sailed a little bit over him. But they got to keep taking those shots. They got to at least see if maybe worst case scenario you arm punt it back to them down the field as well too, because you're not going to get anything back in the game. Not going to get that little sense of pride or anything like that throwing a 3-yard out route at this point. You needed those out routes in the first half when you're trying to get the offense going and maintain drives. At this point, you're trying to get some goofy video game stuff going right now as well. So you were just hoping that maybe something breaks randomly.
Philip Sanders, we haven't called his name a whole lot on defense tonight, but we have seen him punt a couple times, and he's back in to punt again. And let's see how the special teams does. They allowed one huge punt earlier in the game. This one back and caught, coming up to the left. Now trying to get out of the grass. They cannot. Good tackle. Good job by the coverage team there for the Bombers. And now maybe the defense can score since the offense has been unable to.
Vince, we're at the time of the game where my Howard Cosell impersonation is here because we have nothing else better to do. Ladies and gentlemen, what we've seen tonight is absolutely disgusting. The Bombers did not even show up to this game today. It is quite embarrassing, I have to say. What do you say, my friend DJ? Do you think the Bombers embarrassed themselves here? What do you think?
If they didn't embarrass themselves, I'm curious what embarrassment would feel like and look like. But at the same time, I don't want to feel that. It has been a very, very rough performance. They did, especially considering they had such high expectations coming into it as well, too. They were probably the team to beat all the way through. And then to get completely smacked 32-0 here as well, too. That's going to be hard to overcome as well, too. That's embarrassment is probably the right word. And if there isn't a right word, I don't know what word fully describes it.
Derek Banks gives it around to Portnoy, who had an early game success. He gets a nice little run there, about 9 yards around to the right side from there. And, it's interesting, guys. We come down. We've had a lot of news over the last several weeks about broadcasters and different networks. And we get our chance to shine here tonight to a 32-0 performance. We're gonna need some better impersonations than what Jason gave us to draw in the crowd at this point.
Listen. Where's your impersonations at, Vince? Come on. I was trying to lighten it up a little bit here. We got a drubbing going on.
Like yours, all my impersonations, the demographic we're trying to reach, it was too young for any of the impersonations. Somebody's watching right now going, Howard Cosell, is that one of the guys in the truck? They're trying to figure out who that might be. A flag is down on the play. And the referees are, the nice thing here about the referees taking a long time is that the clock runs in 9-man NLFA football. So the clock continues to run through all of this. Now Derek Banks back looking to continue to show out his MVP performance, and he throws that one to Courtney Davis, incomplete on the sideline, overthrew Portnoy on that play. And at this point, DJ isn't everything that's positive for the Lumberjacks, really looking to the end of the year awards.
You got to imagine so at this point as well, too. I mean, you're about to walk away as the champions as well. You're just a couple of minutes away. Everything's locked in. But my question for both of you guys and just general is, did they already kind of vote on those awards? Are they already locked in, or is there still open voting? Because if there is, I think Derek Banks might have locked himself up the league MVP with this performance here today, and the AJ Esther getting hurt, not playing his best today either.
We did our voting prior. I'm not sure if the league was done, but real quick, I just want to go before we go on. I wanted to point this out. Guys, this is 2 of them now. What is so egregious that we are calling penalties in a 32-0 game with 2 minutes left? I'm just curious what could be. Oh, okay. Was that the end? Maybe. I'm not sure.
That's the ball game. There you see it. Final score 32-0 as the Lumberjacks and the Bombers decide to call it a game here with time to spare in this game. And I'll tell you, I think we've kind of covered it here recently, but we'll cover it again. DJ, we'll start with you. This game did not turn out the way we thought it was going to turn out, and at least not the way I thought it was going to turn out. But at the end of the day, what we see is a Lumberjack team really come out and play some really good football tonight.
We saw what was arguably the best team take on what was almost undoubtedly the hotter team, is the Lumberjacks that came in here basically like the Human Torch. They came flying in here as well, too, the way they went on a run down the season. And the Bombers, while they've been the best team arguably throughout the whole year, I think having that time off and kind of a slower back end of the year kind of really hurt them as well, too. And we kind of mentioned it, the playoff jitters, even in NLFA 9-man football, there's still some playoff jitters when you know one and done. The Lumberjacks got to knock all that out of the way last week, going against a game Roughnecks team, where the Bombers, they basically had to sit, wait, and your first game is for all the marbles. You didn't have a chance to knock any of the kinks out. So I think we kind of got to see what happens when extremely hot and extremely good meet under circumstances that favor the extremely hot.
Jason, does any excuse make it feel better for the Bombers?
No excuse. Nothing like that. You can't just wash that one away. A close game, I could have made this play here. I could have made this play, or blame a flag, blame something, circumstances outside of something you can't control. But that kind of beat down, there is nothing that you can really hold your hat on, so to speak. So, yeah, Lumberjacks, so we've had a great season. You mentioned it, DJ, because we talked about it, prior to the game. If, the Lumberjacks were the hot team, they played a tough game last week. You talk about playoff jitters. They were in a scrum last week for their playoff lives, got through it. And I mean, here we are, the Bombers all rested and ready and just got a psycho beta beatdown, period, point blank. So great season for the NLFA, but it was a bad way to end it. Didn't want to see the championship end that way, especially as we had such a good game last week.
Lumberjacks end the year on a 6-game winning streak, including the playoffs and championship, and able to overtake the Bombers. Again, they had played 2 times earlier in the season. Week 1, the Bombers won that matchup 34-8. In week 4, the Lumberjacks answered 22-2. And so game 3 against these teams, it was decided the Lumberjacks, not only the best in this series, the best in the entire league. Gentlemen, it's been a blast. We're going to send you back to the booth and the generic artwork on behind the scene. I'm Vince Stover, joined by Jason Cooper and DJ Stewart. Thank you for tuning in. We'll send you back into the studio now for the wrap-up of the NLFA season.
And welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the High Low Sports Podcast. Is DJ?
I'm Kelsey. Obviously sports is our thing, but we're still nerds at heart.
We've done a lot of recaps.
It's a draft different than some of the last few ones we see, as in nobody has any idea what to expect.
We've done a lot of rants. That's how you just talk about a dude that worked you like a wet rag doll. You are the D-grade Bebe's Kids Chris Paul. What we haven't done in a while though is those fancy rankings.
Number 3 is a guy who is not a traffic cone by any means, and he's a guy that he looks like he might be making first team all defense here within the next few years. I'm putting Jason Tatum at number 3.
And welcome back after what was a pretty unexpected, I would say, completion of the championship game in the NLFA season as the Lumberjacks take down the Bombers in a crisp 40-0 was the final score. If I got that right, it was 32. I missaw it there at the end. And Kelsey's muted as he tries
32-0.
Dang it! I was going to correct you. I was so ready to correct you and everything. And
yeah, I was
premature celebration. This is what it was.
Premature celebration, but the confetti's fall and the season's over. The Lumberjacks are celebrating. Look, this game was pretty quick over pretty early on in the second half here. I know the Bombers got an early turnover. We thought maybe they get some life, but the Lumberjacks just put the foot on the neck and really ended it. The injury to AJ Esther was definitely huge. What did you see as the main downfall for the Bombers in the second half?
The Lumberjacks defense.
Yeah. I mean, Lumberjacks defense. I'm going to say AJ Ester's injury was the nail in the coffin. But to be completely honest, it wasn't like they were doing much before that. I mean, he did what he could, but like when you're one man playing a nine aside, you're probably not walking out with a W. Save it for basketball where one man can save a team, but not in football.
Yeah, it definitely felt like the Bombers just did not show up as one unit today. This seemed to be a lot of just emotions, frustration, and just not a lot of team mentality in the way they played. So the Lumberjacks, all the credit to them for taking advantage and showing up ready to go as a one-unit team. So they deserve this championship for sure. And Ryan, there was a lot of talk on the broadcast about the MVP in the second half there, and it seems pretty clear now. If the voting hadn't already been finalized, it's got to be AJ Banks here with for the MVP, correct?
I would say Telly Ford was certainly for the game MVP. I'd say Telly Ford is certainly is certainly one candidate. Banks is another candidate for sure. But for my money, it's going to be Telly Ford. That interception, the pick six to basically seal a deal for the championship, and also another interception to kill a drive that the Bombers were having. So Telly Ford is AJ Banks. Yeah. Derek Banks Jr. Excuse me.
I mixed the no, that was me who said AJ. It was me who said AJ Banks. I blended the two quarterbacks' names. And to clarify, I was talking about the season MVP, so because I don't disagree with you that Telly Ford is a fantastic choice for MVP of this game.
But league MVP is Derek Banks Jr. for sure. He showed why he was the one of the top candidates for MVP of the league this year. In this game, for sure, I think he definitely cemented his name. He put his name on the plaque for league MVP for 2022 in this game.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, like this was just as a person who was carrying the AJ Esser bandwagon for it felt like a couple weeks there. You know what? I can't even. I'm sorry. Like what Derek Banks Jr. did is just not just this game, not just last week. I mean, like what he's done to get this Lumberjacks team to the playoffs in the proper seeding and lead them to a championship game. I mean, he has been fantastic. And I'd actually also for player of the game, I do also want to throw Dimitri Casey out there. Obviously a guy who had a great first half when the game was actually semi-close. He didn't get. I'm a big proponent of non-garbage time stats. So like when you're up like 24, you're just kind of hucking it up and you get a couple picks. I don't know if I weigh those as well as what Dimitri Casey was doing in the first half, but honestly, can't take anything away from either one of them. Any one of the guys that we've just talked about had a fantastic game, not just today, but really all season. You got to give these guys some credit. But yeah, I do think Derek Banks Jr. just solidified beyond a shadow of the doubt that he is an MVP for this league.
And you said he and the Lumberjacks did it all year to get them to this point to raise this trophy. And speaking of the year, it has been a fun first year for us as Belly Up covering this league. It's been an honor. It's been a ton of fun. Hard fought football all season, and now we come to the end of the season here in a very fitting way here with the Lumberjacks ending up on top. Do you guys have any last words before we sign off for the season here on the NLFA?
Man, this has been fun. I can't wait to I can't wait to continue. Look, we are covering a lot more sports coming up, so obviously we have a whole lot more in the works. So stay tuned to all our announcements on Belly Up Media posts and on Belly Up TV BellyUp.tv, and stay tuned for all of that. And then we'll like I said, we'll all announce things from our own personal socials, but Belly Up Media is the big social you want to follow, and make sure to follow along with that because like we talked about, we got croquet coming up, we have FBA, we have maybe some more football leagues coming up. We'll have to wait and see. And look, this has been so much fun, and I'm glad we get to cover it, and I can't wait to keep covering more sports with everybody.
Yeah, I'm just going to echo what Kelsey said it best. I'm just going to echo what he said. I had a lot of fun covering NLFA for this spring. I'm looking forward to what happens next year. Maybe we'll see some more teams in the making with the NLFA. We don't know for sure, but hopefully we'll see some more teams. We'll see some more action. Lots of 9-on-9. Maybe some adjustments in some of the game rules, or get maybe some gadgetry on offense too, like in some other spring alternative leagues. But yeah, stay tuned to Belly Up TV. Look on our Belly Up Media website, our TV, or at TV Belly Up for our for additional live sports coverage. Got the FBA coming up, as Kelsey mentioned. Got croquet and the shiny balls coming right up, and hopefully some more live sports on the way. So definitely stay tuned for sure.
Yeah, and it would be a crime of us to not just thank the NLFA for
Yes.
their hard work and their diligence to help us constantly each week in, week out, to bring you guys a product that I think has continued to grow week in and week out. So we look forward to the continued work with them in the future, and just seeing what we can do and have some fun with them going forward. But it's been a pleasure,
Commissioner Holland, for that one.
He's
working with us together and being transparent. That's been a big part of this. This has been absolutely fantastic, because he'll take it's a give and take between the two of us, and that's what's been so much fun.
Yeah, Holland has. I have never met the man, but he has been hard at work, as well as our guy Dan Mater at Belly Up Sports. They've been both very hard at work and helping us bring you this product to you every Monday night for the last couple months. So thanks to Holland, thanks to our guy Dan. We've had some fun this year. Hopefully, we'll have some more fun next year.
Well, and that's going to bring us to the end of the broadcast for tonight. But we once again want to thank you for joining us this season. We'll see you next season. We look forward to bringing you more NLFA coverage in the future. As always, thank you to the guys in the booth taking on the game between Jason, DJ, and Vince. And thank you to Kelsey, Ryan, and Andy, who is no longer with us for this post game. But thank you for Andy for joining us pre and halftime as well. We're Belly Up Sports, Belly Up Media. Check us out all over the place. You'll find us Roku TV, Apple TV. We're here for you. It's been an honor. Enjoy your night, everyone.